Welcome to the IBAM Biblical Entrepreneurship Show with your host, Lance Van Tyne. This weekly show inspires and equips Christian entrepreneurs to build sustainable businesses that honor God and uplift impoverished communities around the globe. Join Lance for solo episodes and expert interviews as we advance the Great Commission by sharing insights, mentorship, and real-life stories of how biblical entrepreneurship is transforming lives and spreading the gospel globally. Get ready to be inspired and empowered.
Hi, my name is Steve Adams, and I'm the founder and president of International Businesses Mission, or as like we say, IBAM for short. And I want to welcome you to the first episode of the IBAM Biblical Entrepreneurship podcast. When we do this podcast every week, our purpose and mission is to help entrepreneurs like you who listen in learn how they might integrate their faith into their work in the marketplace, whether you are in a corporate job or have a professional practice, or you're an executive, or you're an entrepreneur just building a business out there. You know, one of the things that I have learned over the last 20 years since I first began this work, since God called me to it, that has been a constant refrain that I have heard from people in business. You know, I don't know how it happened, but a lot of people think about business as something we do Monday to Friday, and then ministry is church on Sunday. Or a lot of business people think, or people in the corporate world, hey, I'll work really hard, I'll save up a lot of money, and then when I retire, I'll do ministry full time. Well, in the scriptures, and we've taught this for over 15 years out in the field in dozens of countries, that's not what the Bible says. The Bible integrates our faith into our work because, you know, the central organizing thought around this is, who is your neighbor? Who is that person that is in your circle of influence that God might be drawing to themselves, that may be a person of peace, meaning someone open to a spiritual conversation that you can then engage in and build a trusting relationship with, and then at some point direct it to a spiritual conversation. And if that person is being drawn by the Father, if they're a person of peace, they will respond positively to that. And so we're going to talk about how you can do that. But what that really means is your neighbor is the people around you on a day-to-day basis, and you spend most of your time at work. So of course, your work is your worship and it is your ministry. Okay. I love what John Mark Comer says. He's the author of the book, Ruthless Elimination of Hurry, among so many others. You know, as a rough paraphrase, he says, when you wake up in the morning and go to work, you're not just a business person with a brand, you're also on mission for God. And it's both. And your job is to do everything you do with excellence and try to restore this garden-like environment in this world that God originally did until it was broken. And so that's our goal. We're going to bring on people here who are doing that out in the marketplace. We're also going to have solo episodes where we just teach on truth and work and the theology of work. We may be talking about how we do our work in the mission field, and perhaps you can get excited about that and join us in that work. Now, I'm the founder and president of IBAM. Our host week to week will be Lance Van Tyne. This young man is a dynamic force of nature. He's not even 30 years old yet, and he's written and published 4 books. He's got a very expansive YouTube channel. He's very, committed to the Word of God and to apologetics and to equip Christians in how to share their faith. And so Lance will be the host week by week. I will appear periodically, as will board members of IBAM and others out in the community. So let me talk about, what does IBAM do? Well, the best way I can explain it is through the 3 fish metaphor. You know, I think you'll see a graphic in the video of our logo, and you'll see it's 3 interconnected fishes, if you will. And the way I want to explain it is, we give a person a fish, we teach them to fish for themselves, and then we equip them to fish for men and women who are being drawn to the Father. That's very simply what we do. So our training is around those 3 elements, okay? So the give a fish part is, we at IBAM raise up money from the donor community into a loan fund, and then we gift that money to our national partners who set up a board and a loan committee, and they manage that money. And the idea behind it is we provide either an expansion loan or a startup loan to our entrepreneurs, because if you teach them, but you don't give them the resources, then you're not really helping them. So that's the give a fish part. It is purely a gift from the people of God to a particular nation or region. And then to that entrepreneur, it's a gift of opportunity, yet they have to pay it back. They sign a contract, they go through a rigorous business planning process. We cap the loan at $1,000 so that we can help more people. And we also require that they do a service business where they're fulfilling work that needs to be done for others. So it's simple, it's low risk and low cost. And we have found that those are our most successful startups. All right. So that's the give a fish. Give them a loan, get them started. And then the second concept is teach them to fish. Well, before they can do that, we take them through an extensive biblical training on what God's word says about money and business and this integration of our work and our faith so that they don't have any kind of poor thinking in their mind that prevents them from committing their all to the business. Okay. So we teach them that. We then take them through sections like success and failure factors, why business succeed, why they fail. It's actually one of our most popular sections. We have a really great way of explaining marketing through a triangle illustration and metaphor. And then we teach them how to do budgeting, know their numbers, and then listen to their business, and then update their numbers at the end of each month, see where they went off course and correct, and make those little iterative changes every month. And we have them do that right in our online platform with a business coach. That's a requirement. They can't even enter training unless they have the business coach, okay? And so that's what helps them sustain the business, all right? So that they become a sustainable business on their own. I mean, obviously in partnership with God, but they can provide for their families, number one. And then when their business grows, they can provide for other families. So that's the teach a fish. And then the third fish is we want to equip them in a very simple biblical model of disciple making that contributes to the growth of church planting movements. Okay. We give them some very simple tools that are easy to remember that help them think about and apply in their daily life a process of living a godly life and engaging people who are lost, and then directing them to the person of Jesus Christ. And if that's someone that the Lord is drawing to himself, then that will happen naturally over time. But it won't happen unless you're intentional about it. And so we work with them to help them learn those basic tools. Now, one thing I will tell you is from the U.S., it is not our job and our role to equip people for disciple making in a complete sense of the word. We partner with organizations that are committed to multiplicative disciple making growth, whether it's through house churches or individual disciple making. That is a core value of IBAM, and we will not partner with an organization unless they have that same commitment. Okay. And so that kind of completes our three fish metaphor. Give a fish the loan, teach them to fish the training for business, and then equip them for disciple making, meaning fish for men and women. That's the disciple making aspect of the three fish metaphor. And it integrates both God's commandment, his great commission commandment, and the other command in Genesis to go and subdue and to develop the world.
Imagine a world where every impoverished community has the opportunity to thrive economically and spiritually. But too often, aspiring Christian entrepreneurs lack the resources and support to pursue their God-given callings. Without financial assistance, business education, and mentorship, their dreams remain unfulfilled, and their potential to impact lives for the kingdom goes unrealized. But you can change that by becoming a donor today. Your support will provide business loans, entrepreneurial training, and experienced mentors, empowering these communities to build sustainable, Christ-centered businesses that uplift lives and spread the gospel. Don't let another day pass without unleashing the transformative power of biblical entrepreneurship. Become a donor now and invest in eternal impact.
What is IBAM's vision? Our vision over the next 10 years is we want to have a business as mission practitioner in every village of the world, and we want to have 1 million entrepreneurs that are out there as disciple-making, missionary entrepreneurs in their own culture. IBAM's vision is about empowering the individual in their local context, not Americans coming in and doing the work and then kind of leading the show. The way that we achieve that is we have something called our master trainer model. This is something in the last year that we implemented after nearly 15 years of experimentation, doing all of the work ourselves. We kind of perfected that model, but it had a very limited impact because there was only so much a core group of men and women at IBAM could do in one particular year traveling around the world. So what we've done, because we invested 5 years in the development of a web portal and software system that tracks every aspect of our process and includes a business validation tool that is automated, what our theory was 2 years ago was we could give this away. We could almost like franchise this to our partners around the world, teach them how to use the tool, and then equip them to then go multiply master trainers in their region worldwide. Well, it's 2 years later and we have proven the model. We have our first partner in sub-Saharan Africa, in Zambia. We're partnering with a large organization, a global organization called Awana. You may know of them in the US as primarily young children, but in Africa, it goes all the way to age 35. And our partner in Africa has 4 million members that are included in that ministry on a week-to-week basis. They have 27,000 leaders, and their vision is to get 5,000 to 10,000 trainers across sub-Saharan Africa, catalyzing 10,000 to 25,000 businesses a year. That's the goal in Africa. And what we want to do is we want to replicate that partnership in every continent in the world, including the United States. That's how we're going to get to 1 million entrepreneurs in 10 years. In 2034 is by releasing this and allowing the multiplication effect of trainers training trainers who train trainers to take over and to grow multi-generational in every part of the world. And we're excited now because we have proven that model out in Africa, and now we're ready to expand it around the world. And so that's our vision at IBAM. Now, what you can expect from the podcast going forward is, again, you're going to have solo episodes where Lance or I or potentially some other guest podcaster is going to come on, and they're going to take one topic and they're going to teach on it. And it's going to bless you and help you do what you do either in business or grow spiritually better, okay? But we're also going to have guests on who talk about their journey so that you can, almost like reading a biography, you can learn, what did they overcome? What are the lessons that they learned? We always can shortcut our own spiritual and business growth by listening to others and learning from their mistakes. All right. I mean, I have read nearly 3,000 books in my life, and I'm a strong believer in learning from others and then paying for less mistakes along the way. Okay. And what I want you to know is that our goal is to encourage you and bless you, not only with just spiritual growth training, but also business training. If you go to our website, ibam.org, you are going to be able to see we have a new website launching in the middle of July that is going to have a membership portal. And I think it's a bargain. For $10 a month, you are helping catalyze entrepreneurs around the world. That alone is worth it. But secondly, you're also going to get great content. We're going to have an expert interview every month inside the membership portal. You're going to be able to use our IBAM curriculum that we've used in over a dozen countries in the world. You're going to be able to use it for your business right here in the US. And eventually, we're going to make available our business planning software inside the membership portal later this year or early next year, where then you can put your business numbers in and track them and work with a coach, all within a Christian worldview context. So that's what you can expect from the podcast. I encourage you to invite other listeners to support the podcast, to subscribe to it, to share it. Go to our website, ibam.org, become a member. We have some great free resources on the theology of work, on truth in the marketplace. We've got a story about one of our students in Ukraine that you can get also. And listen, I just want to thank you. In 2004, I went on my first mission trip, and the Lord called me to missions. I want you to know I'm a working ministry partner. I have 2 companies that I run. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm in the thick of it, just like you are. Our entire board are entrepreneurs. They're in the thick of it, just like you are, with the exception of 1 or 2 who are retired, but they were successful business people. I want you to join us in this vision. I felt like the Lord called me to it. My first trip was to the southern part of Russia in the Adagian Republic, in a town called Maikop, where I first saw the vision of what we could do with this business training. And it has taken me to, over a dozen nations and multiple cultures, 50 mission trips later, 20 years later. This is where we are today, and we can see what God's going to do with this, and we're excited, and we just want to encourage you to join us in this vision. So again, thank you so much. I hope that this was encouraging to you. Go to ibam.org, explore our new website, join as a member, and tell everybody about this podcast, and help us reach 1 million Indigenous people around the world that we can empower in business and equip for ministry. Thank you.
You're listening to the International Business as Mission podcast, a space where we explore how to build businesses rooted in biblical principles that create global impact. But we're not just here to talk. We're taking action to spread entrepreneurship to poverty-stricken communities around the world. Our mission is to be the catalyst that empowers people to build sustainable livelihoods and break the cycle of poverty. We follow the 3 fish principle. Give a fish, providing startup loans to empower entrepreneurs. 2, teach to fish, offering entrepreneurial training for sustainable business practices. And 3, equip for disciple making, building a community that supports spiritual growth alongside business success. This is life-changing work, but we can't do it alone. We need passionate impact partners like you to join us on this mission. By becoming a donor, your generous gift will directly fund the establishment of new businesses that provide dignified work and hope. Just imagine, your donation could help a single mother in rural Africa start a small farming venture that allows her to feed her children and send them to school. Or a young man in Southeast Asia to launch a small manufacturing business, breaking the chains of generational poverty. This is the power of entrepreneurship as a force for good. Will you join us in unleashing it? Go to IBAMpodcast.org, donate now to start impacting lives through the transformative power of business as mission. Together, we can create a world of flourishing.